If you told me a year ago that this time a year later we would own a flat, I would have laughed in your face. It doesn't really feel real yet. I feel like I'm still renting. So we bought a flat. We moved in a week and a half ago and then Jack's family came to stay. So the whole place has not been done or fully unpacked yet. So my boyfriend and I bought this flat. It is a conversion, a loft conversion. I know when I announced this, some people were really surprised. We didn't think we could buy a flat. In fact, we were told outright that we could not buy a flat in the area we wanted to live earlier in the year. So this came as a shock to us as well. Everything happened really fast and I want to tell you about it. So I want to tell you what happened, how we managed to buy a flat in our 20s and give some tips for if you are also trying to buy. I really thought about not making this video because we are in a cost of living crisis in the UK. And not only that, we're in a housing crisis and we're about to hit a recession if we haven't already. I don't want to come across as gloating and I don't want to present a romanticized version of life. As I know some of these videos can be. I myself have watched many we bought our first flat video and sometimes they feel almost too good to be true and they can make you feel bad about yourself, and I didn't necessarily want to add to that genre of video, especially when there's going to be people in my audience who are struggling to pay their bills and are living month to month. So if that's the case for you, I am sending loads of love. I know what it's like to be on the phone to CAB and to shelter trying to get advice when you have an awful landlord. These challenges are really real. So if you're in that position, I'm sending all my love to you, and I'll be donating a percentage of the AdSense on this video to Shelter, who are an amazing charity who are helping to eradicate homelessness in the UK. A bit of a solemn note to start, but I did want to mention that I'm conscious that this is a strange time to be buying. So let me tell you the story. How did we, in less than a year, go from being told we couldn't buy a flat to buying one? So in February or March, we had a call with a mortgage advisor that one of my friends used to buy her property. And we're really interested in getting on the property ladder. We always have been. So we spoke to a mortgage advisor and she basically laughed us out the door. For the kind of place we wanted to live and in the area we wanted to live, she said, you just categorically don't have enough money. You haven't factored in stamp duty. And she genuinely said, maybe you could ask your parents? So we left that call feeling disheartened and just didn't think about it from that point on. But being me, obviously, I was always on, you know, Rightmove, on Zoopla, having a scroll. I love looking at houses, I love looking at flats. So fast forward to July, we handed in our notice on our flat. We kind of knew we wanted to live somewhere new, but nothing could have prepared us for how bad the rental market was. We were looking at places that were falling apart for over £2,000 a month. There is a housing crisis across the UK, but also in London, and it's bad. There's simply not enough homes to go around. And so because demand is high and the properties are scarce, it drives up demand. And I think with the loosening of restrictions, the pandemic feeling as though it's coming to an end, a lot of people were moving back or moving for the first time into London, and it was just nuts. So there's no incentive for landlords to make their flats nice. And we were looking at places that were, you know, really moldy, like places that had countertops peeling up, like they were really damaged and in really bad condition, but there's no incentive for landlords to fix those things because they know they'll be able to let it out. Anyway, so we were getting gradually more and more disheartened. I actually vlogged a little bit of that, and then one day I was on Rightmove and I clicked on our saved search area, which for some reason had the same name as the search area I had when we were looking for an example property to show the mortgage advisor back in March. As part of the process with her, she asked us to find a sample property. Anyway, so I went on Rightmove, accidentally clicked on this previous search because they all looked the same on the sidebar. And before I'd realized that I'd done that, the top property that had just been uploaded was a flat. The listing had been uploaded that day and it looked amazing. And not only that, but it was significantly cheaper than the property we'd sent through as an example to our mortgage advisor back in March. Our mortgage advisor. She's not our mortgage advisor, the mortgage advisor. Oh, if you don't know as well, a mortgage advisor is someone who guides you through the mortgage process. They help you find the best deal. They help you put together a mortgage in principle. You don't need one, but I've heard from other self-employed people that it's quite hard to get a mortgage without one. So I always knew that we were going to be paying for a mortgage advisor, especially in London where if you're a normal person, then you're borrowing quite a large amount of money. It's not like you're going to be benefiting from like the best rates. That doesn't really happen when you're buying in London. So I send the link to Jack and he loves it. And we think, what's the harm in going for a viewing? Call up the estate agent. I say, are we able to view it without a mortgage in principle? A mortgage in principle is a document that says basically, this is how much you'd be able to borrow in principle. So it's kind of like to show you're a serious buyer. So the estate agent said, yes, it'd be fine for you to view it without a mortgage in principle. We book a viewing in for the end of the week. In fact, it wasn't even the end of the week. I think it was like a Thursday. We viewed the place. We love it. We get referred to an in-house mortgage advisor, which I wouldn't usually have gone for. That mortgage advisor works directly with the estate agent. They're in the same office, so we knew that they could go and move really fast to get us a mortgage in principle. Literally that day we have a meeting with this mortgage advisor who is amazing, love him to bits. And somehow he pulls together a mortgage in principle for us within the week. We make an offer on the flat and it gets accepted. This all happened in about a week and a half, and it was the most stressful week and a half of my life. I just couldn't think about anything else. So we got the flat. So yeah, we saw one flat. We did no due diligence. I remember one friend asking me if I'd counted how many plug sockets there were or if I'd opened a single window when I viewed it. I was like, no. So from that point, it was just getting a mortgage together. I say it like it was easy. It was an absolute nightmare. But we had our offer accepted, which gave us a certain level of security. So we spent the last month of being in our flat, packing things up, getting as much of our documentation and stuff together as fast as possible so we could then get the mortgage process and the buying process going as quickly as possible so we could get into our flat. I've heard that in some parts of the world, it's a very simple process in terms of it takes 3 months. That's how it is. In the UK, process from the offer being accepted through to you getting the keys is it can be endless. And there's so many moving cogs. The main one is whether you're in a chain or part of a chain, which I still don't understand too much because we were not part of a chain. We were first-time buyers, and the people who were selling it was their buy-to-let property. They were in a rush to sell, we were in a rush to buy. We were like, go, go, go. The paperwork, the processes that it took to get us into this flat and to get the keys to complete was long and tumultuous. Every time a YouTuber makes a video explaining how they bought a flat, I would watch the video. So I thought I'd done everything right in terms of how I paid myself, how I did the self-employment thing to make sure that I would be in the bank's good books. So when you're getting a mortgage, the mortgage application goes through an underwriter who is there just to confirm that the numbers all add up. They look good. It looks like you'll be able to pay your mortgage. But the underwriter concluded I would not be able to pay my mortgage because of a new quirk where they look at your business, your overall business gross profit instead of the amount you as a sole trader make. So I own a business, right? And my business pays me money. And my business obviously makes more than I pay myself because my business invests in things like if I work with Becca on Nothing to Wear, my business pays her. Or if I need a new camera, my business pays for that. And then I pay myself a salary every month. My salary was more than fine to cover my mortgage, but my business did a little dip in COVID, as most people's did, a very small dip. But the underwriter thought that showed a trend of decline. So I spent a long time proving to the underwriter man that I was not a failing business, which was really fun. In the end, we did manage to persuade them that I can afford the flat. And I do get it, we're borrowing right to the edge of what we can literally borrow, and we've put down all of our savings, so I get it. All in this process, we've moved out of our other flat, and we are just living in various people's homes. And we're staying with my parents, with Jack's parents, at friends' houses while they're away. We kind of house sit, we cat sit, which you might have realized if you've watched a few of my videos over the past few months. I'm always filming in different places. Anyway, the mortgage application finally gets approved. We sign the mortgage deed. We find out we signed it wrong, we have to reprint it, re-sign it, repost it. There's lots of little hurdles getting in the way, which is very normal for a house buying. And then once pretty much everything's done and agreed, you can exchange and then you can complete. I still don't truly understand why they are separate things. So I think it was 16 or 17 weeks after our offer was accepted, we completed. And that meant we got the keys and we were able to move in. So yeah, we moved in the very next day. The whole thing has been nuts. The bit you're probably most curious about is how we bought a flat. We're both in our mid-20s. I mean, I'm in my late 20s, but let's not go there. And we live in London, and we wanted to stay in London. This was a non-negotiable for us. We would have kept renting, obviously, if we couldn't afford to buy. I want to be transparent, but I'm obviously not going to share numbers. It's not just my business, it's my boyfriend's business as well, and he didn't choose to put his life on the internet. The best way I can explain how we bought is we put down a deposit of 10%, and that is a deposit we have saved up over a number of years. And that is made possible simply by the fact that we are both people with relatively high-paying jobs. I'm a self-employed online creator. I've been working since I was 21. Jack's been working since he was 19. and he works in, you know, he's got a good job. Another thing I think can't go unmentioned is that we were both really fortunate to both still be working throughout COVID, and we were able to build our savings then as well. I don't think I can impress upon people how much of a difference a dual income makes. There's no way Jack or I could have bought a property on our own. We went in full halvesies, 50-50. Oh my God, a part of the story I did not mention is Liz Truss. Liz. We also bought through a period of real turbulence in the UK government, but we are also some of the people who benefited the most from it, weirdly. One of Liz Truss's policies in her brief 44 days as Prime Minister, don't know why I'm acting like she died, she hasn't, she's fine, was to cut stamp duty, and that was really beneficial for us. At that point, we'd already had everything confirmed and it was all good, but stamp duty is only exchanged right at the end of the whole process. And Liz changed the stamp duty thing maybe like 2 months into our buying process. So we were able to benefit from the stamp duty cut, which I'm immensely grateful for. I felt very on the edge financially by the fact that we were obviously putting all of our savings in, and now we have a slight buffer each that we saved on the stamp duty, and that has just been such a relief. Yeah, so I mentioned this because I was gonna say it's important, I think, to say that we put down a 10% deposit. We've borrowed 90%, and that is the max we were allowed to borrow based on our incomes. We actually ended up putting down a deposit of 12%, but the mortgage interest rates only change in increments of 5%. So even though we were putting down more of a deposit, we could only get in that 10% bracket of interest rates. And as you might know, yeah, inflation's happening, interest rates are rising because of how much we were borrowing relative to how much we were putting down. We were only able to secure the 8th option on the list. Had we waited even a week longer, we would simply have not got a house. The interest would have been too high, the bank would have never lent us the money. So while in the grand scheme of things we have maybe a higher interest rate than some people, we are exceptionally lucky with the timings that it wasn't secured even a week later, and that we got it confirmed in writing just before Liz came around. I'm really sorry if I'm not explaining things very well, because I have watched these videos and I know what it's like on the other side, going like, what does that even mean? And I know I'm not explaining things all that well. So feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. I'm so happy to answer. As I said, won't be sharing numbers, but everything else I'll do my best to help. So yeah, we borrowed a lot of money. We borrowed a lot of money and we put a lot of money down. And it's worth saying, despite all of this, our mortgage payments are still a bit less than what we were paying as rent. So if that gives you any context for why people want to get on the housing ladder. So I think what I'm trying to communicate here is, while we've obviously saved well and worked hard, blah, 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 we are incredibly fortunate. Timings wise, we're immensely fortunate as well. And honestly, just a lot of stuff came together at a really interesting time. And for that, we're just really lucky. Initially, we were sitting there regretting that we didn't get in on the stamp duty holiday. And then everything tanked, and we just suddenly felt so fortunate that we had managed to get in there before interest rates skyrocketed. The place is a mess, but would you like a quick tour? I love this place, it's so quirky. Anyway, let me show you around. I just want to say this is a rough and ready tour. As you can see, the flat is not looking great. But yeah, this is our main living space. And then up the stairs, where you can see my little light, is the kitchen. This is our kitchen with our little moving home cards. It is so chaotic here. We're in a loft space, as you can see here. We've got these beautiful beams. This is our spare room. It's so messy. We're gonna have a bed here, and then my office space all over here, and hopefully some storage down here. Honestly, the floors sold me the flat. It's our little entryway. Okay, so the bathroom is blue. The bathroom is quite old. I would really like to get the bathroom done. There's all this storage here, which is amazing for me. As you know, part of my job is talking about beauty, about skincare. I would like to do a bit of work on this. Up the stairs. This is a door to the kitchen. This is a little storage space. And then this is our little bedroom. I am obsessed with the bedroom. It's my favorite room in the house. This is all some storage back here. I put these on here just to decorate for a video I filmed. Down this side is our wardrobes. Expect lots of outfit videos here. I hope you enjoyed that little tour. Quickly, let me give you a few tips if you're also looking to get on the property ladder. 1, save regularly and just have your salary hit your account, and then your savings payment goes straight out that day. I made a savings plan about 3 years ago now, and I calculated how much I'd need to save in order to build up a certain deposit that I thought I would probably want or need. So I broke that all down. I worked backwards basically from the savings goal that I had, and I made that payment as soon as I paid myself every month. I would just send that money, that monthly payment that I knew was saving towards my savings goal, straight into my savings account. I also spoke to a financial advisor 2 years ago, and I was saying, shall I put my money in an ISA? Shall I put it in stocks? And he said, absolutely not. Keep it liquid for the next few years, because you want to use it in under 5 years' time. So if you are also saving and you hope to buy in 5 years or less, keep it all in just like cash, was the advice I was given. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is just what I did. The other thing I would do is remember stamp duty, because we didn't. When we were talking to that first mortgage advisor, we had completely not factored in how much stamp duty would cost for us. So when you think, oh, I've got this chunk of money for a deposit, work out what the stamp duty would be on that and minus that off your deposit chunk. I'd also encourage you to think about affordability. This was not something that even crossed my mind, but I had assumed that interest rates would stay at 0.5% or like 1% forever, and they probably won't. So when you're looking at your savings and you're putting it in a mortgage calculator and you're thinking, God, that's so affordable month on month, crank that interest rate up to 6% and see how it looks, because that is where you really feel how affordable something is. Can you cope with it reaching 6 or 7%? It's something I don't think is discussed enough when talking about buying a property, is that your payments will change as your fixed term ends. So we have a 2-year fixed term, and we will have to remortgage, and then depending on what's going on, our interest rate might increase, and that might change how affordable we find it living here. I basically scenario plan to work out what your actual affordability is. Those are my main tips, really. I've got a load of notes on my phone of every mistake we made as a first-time buyer. If you'd like that video, let me know. I might wait a bit for us to like settle in the flat before I make it, so I can see if there's any more mistakes we made, because I'm sure more will come to light as we live here. And ultimately, thank you so much for your support, because there is no way I could have done this without you. I know it's cheesy, I know it's cliche, but I am just so grateful for all your support and for watching my little ads and pressing skip on the 5-second button on the pre-rolls. And thank you so much for watching me and my little brand deals. Appropriately, I'd just like to quickly thank the sponsor of this video, Squarespace, for making this video possible. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. As you know, I have a Squarespace site, and it was super easy to build, and it serves a bunch of functions for me, but there is so much more functionality that is available if I wanted to use it. The main functions I use my site for are to sell my presets, which are my lovely little Lightroom presets. If you see a nice photo that I've taken, if you see a nice video I've made, I've probably put a preset on it, and I wanted to make them downloadable for everyone. I also use the blog. I update my blog regularly. I recently did a post all about my everyday jewelry, and then overall the site functions as a hub, as a portfolio. There's an About Me page where you can get all the information you need if you want to work with me, if you're trying to find out who I am. And as I said, Squarespace has so many options, so many different functions you can build into your site to make it perfect for you. So if you go to squarespace.com/LucyMoon, you can get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain, or use the code LucyMoon at checkout. So I'll leave all that information below, and I'll leave a link where you can go and start building your site. Amazing. Oh, I'm gonna go.